Marvelous hello, friends and loved ones! How are you today? So, look, full disclosure, today I was going to talk about Digital Devil Saga, a game that I've wanted to talk about for a long time, a game that many of you have wanted me to talk about for a long time, and a game that I promise I will talk about soon. But due to some personal stuff in my life, things have just been a bit chaotic, and I was not able to put together a script that I was happy with. So we will be doing this later, I promise. But it is still December, and as such, I feel like I owe all of you a proper Megami Tensei video. So today, instead of a game, I thought we could just kick back, relax, and watch a movie. Before we get to our feature presentation, let's dive into a little backstory. We all know that Atlus made Shin Megami Tensei in 1992. Well, in 1993, Kazunari Suzuki, who did play a pretty heavy role in the writing process of a lot of early Megami Tensei games, and also worked on a handful of Pokemon games in Europe as a localization supervisor. Go figure. Decided to write a standalone Megami Tensei story in the form of a manga called Shin Megami Tensei Tokyo Revelation. The manga ran for 4 issues from April of 1993 to December of 1995. But in earlier 1995, so before the manga was even finished, they released a 2-part OVA loosely based on the story. Now, I say loosely, but truth be told, I have no idea how accurate or inaccurate this 60-minute long movie is, because I wasn't able to find any full scans of the manga online, much less actually translated. But the OVA was dubbed into English and released on VHS in 1997 by Manga Entertainment. Manga! Oh, I'm sorry, manga. By the way, it's important to remember that as of 1997, the only other official Megaten stuff you could really get your hands on was Jack Bros on the Virtual Boy and Revelations Persona on the PS1. So this was a pretty early effort at introducing the franchise to Western audiences. And since hardly anyone ever talks about this movie, I'm gonna say it wasn't a very successful effort. The English script was even written by Richard Epcar, who would go on to voice Baofu in Persona 2 Eternal Punishment just a few years later. Of course, most of you probably know him best for Oh my God! Speaking of voices, while a lot of the readings in this film are, like, super cheesy 90s dub, there is a fair amount of talent here from actors like Steve Blum, Lex Lang, and Leah Sargent. While the OVA was brought over in 1997, the copy we're going to be watching today is from the DVD, which didn't come out stateside until 2002. Also, for some reason, the copy I bought off eBay has this random square cut out of the back cover. I have no idea what was there or why it was worth cutting out, so I'm just going to assume it was a pair of boobs because there is a surprisingly high amount of boobs in this movie. But you're not here to listen to me talk about boobs, so let's just go ahead and get started. The OVA opens up on a nice relaxing flight where an obvious anime antagonist is asked politely to put away his Sony laptop as the plane begins their descent. And he does. Until he doesn't, summoning a horde of what appears to be Kaneko's imp design, but since they're causing havoc on an airplane, it's quite possible they're intended to be gremlins, which shared imp's design in Shin Megami Tensei 1. And then the demons run amok.
The plane exploded in a giant fireball and everybody died! Except for me.
After trying and failing to his magic sky kitty to come to our world, he laments just not having enough magnetite. And then the title screen explodes and the world is obliterated. Because, let's face it, it's just not Shin Megami Tensei without an apocalypse or two. But luckily, that was all just a dream, and our protagonist, Kojiro Soma, wakes up and finds his little brother hard at work doing serious computer hacking in order to achieve the ultimate goal. That sweet, dial-up 90s internet pornography.
Yeah! Great!
On his way to school, Kojiro stops to say goodbye to his dog, Patra, and once he's headed to the school gates, he's greeted by Yosuke. No, thankfully not that one, but this one. You know they're friends because he does the anime from behind bro hug, otherwise I'd have never assumed these two were schoolyard chums. We're also introduced to Yosuke's girlfriend, Saki. Apparently one of their classmates' parents died in that mysterious plane crash from the cold opening, so they're all gonna go help set up the funeral after school. You know, normal extracurricular activities. In the classroom, a bunch of girls are going gaga over the possibility of a dreamy new boy who's transferring to their class, who turns out to be a rather familiar-looking head of white hair by the name of Akito Kobayashi, who introduces himself in a very peculiar way.
My name is Akito Kobayashi, and I'm really into computers and I like books on the occult. I have this big dream, but I really can't talk about it. Besides, I doubt that many of you could understand it.
You see, I'm something of an intellectual. My favorite TV show is Rick and Morty. Fun fact, the scene in this 1995 anime where the teacher assigns Akito the empty seat behind Kojiro is actually a direct reference to the hit 2016 title Persona 5. Who knew? Anyway, it's pretty clear that Kojiro and Akito know each other, but Akito seems pretty focused on Saki with her glowy glowness of glowingness. There's also this quick scene to establish 3 different characters. We've got these 2 cool people, and we know they're cool because they ride motorcycles. And then we've also got this gothic Lolita stalker lovingly stroking a teddy bear while hiding in the bushes.
Your mother plays card games in hell.
It's very peculiar to see that this school apparently doesn't have uniforms. Like, sure, a few students are wearing them, but it's clearly not mandatory because most of the students just look like the 90s threw up all over them. While Kojiro is explaining to Yosuke that he knew Akito back when they were kids, the creepy girl from earlier shows up and just gives Kojiro a knife. Alright. When a girl in a frilly dress and a teddy bear hands you a knife, you take it. It turns out the booty shorts wearing motorcycle girl from earlier is also a transfer student named Marika, and she's also interested in Saki's glowy glowness. What a series of fun coincidences that probably have nothing to do with each other. After class, Kojiro and Akito meet up in the hallway and pick right back up where they left off as super good buddies. And because this is an anime, it's time to head to the roof. I kid you not, Kojiro. He turns himself into a pickle. He's called Pickle Rick. Funniest shit I've ever seen. We learn that Akito was bullied a lot as a kid, and Kojiro was the only one who stood up for him. So Akito has developed a little bit of a crush on this guy he hasn't seen in about 10 years or so. But he is quickly rejected. Fortunately, Akito is able to laugh off being shot down and quickly changes the conversation to something normal. Like how he started summoning demons. Yosuke and Kojiro head off to help set up for the funeral, so Akito does what any normal person would do and invites the 4 girls from his class to his storage locker for a big lesbian orgy, because nothing puts women in the mood like a guy with a primo computer setup like that. Unfortunately for them, I guess the orgy was able to summon a bunch of kobold that inhabit the girls' bodies, and Akito sends them to go get Saki for him. And while they're at it, if they could kill Yosuke, that'd be great. This is also when we're introduced to one of the main demons of the film, Gagasin, who warns Akito that killing Yosuke might piss off Kojiro, or more specifically, the spirit of Masakado that resides within him. After Akito leaves, Gagasin summons Cerberus using the demon summoning program and sends him off to kill Kojiro. You know, for good measure. After the funeral, Yosuke and Saki get ambushed by their kobold-possessed classmates, but thankfully Marika and that one other guy are ninjas who happen to be in the neighborhood at the time. After defeating all the kobolds, the girls are left unconscious, so naturally the first thing they do is get the heck out of there before anyone wakes up. I'm sure those girls will be fine. Marika tells Saki about the demons and how her body is glowing with magnetite, which is what demons need in order to have a physical form in this world, and hey look, Pixie! I almost forgot this was a Megami Tensei story. She also explains that her and Takehiko are a special clan of ninja, and that's why they were able to save her.
It's just not every day that I meet ninjas who are demon slayers.
Well, I'd certainly hope not. Why are you so nonchalant about this? Marika also speculates that Saki's high level of magnetite might be due to her being the reincarnation of some great goddess, but I doubt that's foreshadowing anything. Kojiro's night isn't going much better, as he and Patra are attacked in the park by Cerberus. Kojiro is thankfully able to fight off Cerberus for a bit thanks to the knife-turned lightsaber he got from that Lolita girl, but it's not quite enough. Thankfully, Old Man Ex Machina shows up and subdues Cerberus with a magic scroll, and gives him two options. Either possess the body of the dog he just killed and pledge his loyalty to Kojiro, or perish and fade away into nothingness. Okay, I'm just going to assume that means the first choice. Kagasen is most displeased by this, and oh my god, I love this face. Can this become the Megami Tensei equivalent of the surprised Pikachu meme? But he's not the only one spying on what Kojiro is up to. That Lolita girl, Kyoko, is also watching him through a crystal ball, but she's quickly scolded and told to stay away from him by her hot older sister, Yuriko. After he gets home, Kojiro decides to do a bit of research into Cerberus, and thinks back to when he and Akito were kids, and Akito was getting bullied for being gay, basically. Young Kojiro is all like, don't worry, we'll get our revenge on those bullies by summoning demons to do our bidding. Which, years later, we learn that Akito may have taken a little bit too seriously. After hearing a scream, Kojiro rushes into his little brother's room to see he's been sucked into the computer through the demon summoning program. And as Kojiro gets pulled in as well, Cerberus bursts in to protect his new master. Also, Akito gives Marika some sort of messed up kiss, and the kobolds end up kidnapping Saki after all. Whoops! Back in the computer world, which I'm pretty sure is what folks in the 90s thought the internet would look like, Kojiro comes face to face with Gagason, who reveals that he is a servant of the demon Ose.
Ose? Wait a minute, are you talking about Satan?
The one and only.
Actually, no. Although, actually, in the English dub, Ose is sometimes referred to as Satan, while the original Japanese version maintains his proper demonic title of President. But I admit that may have sounded a little strange to Western audiences. Okay, while we're on the subject of the Japanese version, can I take a moment to highlight how crazy Gagason's voice is? See, in the English version, he sounds like this.
This is like my own personal video game. I hope you're having fun. Oh, by the way, did I mention there's no escape? We'll play until the last drop of magnetite is sucked from your body.
But in the Japanese version, he sounds like this. Moving on. Gagason is super proud of his virtual world, like a kid trying to show off all the cool stuff he's done in Minecraft, and he summons demons to kill Kojiro, including a worm, a big titty harpy, and a cyclops. Marika also gets back home with her friend and the old guy from before, but something seems wrong with her. I wonder what it could be. No, it's probably not that. That happens to me whenever I eat Panda Express. Akito gets back with Saki and is furious to discover that Gagason has trapped Kojiro, but too little too late realizes that working with demons to, destroy the entire world except this one boy I have a crush on may have been an unrealistic expectation. I feel like he should have seen this betrayal coming. Also, when Kojiro suffers a wound in the virtual world, Kyoko's crystal ball explodes with blood, and I'm pretty sure it's not supposed to do that. So she screams, which alerts Yuriko and some other old guy we've never met before. Also, Saki's naked now. I guess that's a necessary part of the plan. Look, I don't know. I have stopped questioning any of the nudity in this movie. Case in point, Kyoko arrives at Kojiro's house and holds his unconscious body before beginning a special ritual to awaken his inner strength. And in order to awaken his inner strength, she needs to get naked and straddle him, and kiss oh so tenderly from his neck down to his chest. I don't know if that's required, but it works, I guess. I mean, something happens. Gagason finally completes the ritual to summon Ose into this world by stabbing Saki's naked body with a sword, unleashing her magnetite and finally allowing the kaiju-sized kitty to enter our world. Also, by having totally not sex with Kojiro and awakening Masakato, she's found by Yuriko and the old man and immediately banished from their order. Doesn't matter. Had sex? Oh yeah, and Kojiro is a Super Saiyan now after awakening the spirit of Masakado within him, so he and Cerberus are able to fight Osei. Though, apparently being an ancient Japanese deity just makes you spout cocky 90s one-liners.
I think maybe you got lost. I'll give you a hand finding your way back. Nice try. Your devil seems a little tuckered out. If you want to fight, then let's get going already. Not a bad firecracker. Your aim could use a little work, though. All right, now I'm through playing around. Not so fast, Dragon Breath. Here's a going away present.
Forget Super Saiyan, this version of Masakado is more in line with Supersonic.
You're too slow!
Gagasin winds up allowing himself to be absorbed by Osei to boost his master's power because he's really, really dumb. Like seriously, when you're rewatching this, nearly everything Gagasin does in this movie ends up biting him in the butt. Akito, meanwhile, comes up with a plan to shut off Saki's supply of magnetite to Osei. I'm just gonna move this over here and just read this ritual here.
What have you done to Saki?
Nothing.
Yeah, I promise. I'm holding a sword and standing in a pentagram over your recently stabbed naked girlfriend for a good reason. Kyoko and Akito perform the necessary ritual to reincarnate Saki into Yukiko's initial persona, with Akito putting his own life force inside of Saki. With the flow of magnetite shut off, Masakado is able to deliver a final blow to Osei, destroying his physical body in this world. The naked Konohana Sakiya, who is apparently both Saki and Akito, flies away towards Masakado after dumping Yosuke. And then that happens. And then the movie is over. And the film's credits remind us about the concept of reincarnation.
Life dies.
And it blossoms again.
Okay, so it dies once and blossoms twice?
It blossoms and it dies. Dies and blossoms again.
Okay, wait. Okay, so I think I got this. So life blossoms 4 times, and it dies thrice.
It blossoms and it dies. It blossoms and it dies. Dies and blossoms again.
Okay, f*** this. I give up. And that was Tokyo Revelation. Was it any good? Not really. But I've certainly seen worse edgy 90s anime that didn't even have Super Saiyan Steve Blum smack-talking a kaiju Osei. I haven't read the manga that the story was based on, but it's pretty clear they needed more than a 60-minute OVA to tell this tale. Like, who is this guy, and why do we care that he banished Kyoko from their order? I mean, yeah, as a Megaten fan, I know this is probably the Order of Gaia, but that's not going to be obvious to the average viewer. Or maybe it will be, because I have to imagine the only average viewers of this movie are going to be curious Megami Tensei fans. Speaking of, if you're one of those curious fans after listening to me talk about it, the entire film is on YouTube as of the time of making this video. I'm not personally going to recommend it, but as a fan of the franchise myself, I'm definitely glad I sat down and watched it. And that's really all I have to say about Tokyo Revelation. Again, I'm sorry it wasn't Digital Devil Saga, but I hope you all enjoyed learning a bit about this often forgotten piece of Megami Tensei history. Now, if you'll all excuse me, I have some very important work to do. Hey everyone, thanks for watching my video. If you liked it, be sure to click like, but if you really liked it, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on any future videos. Extra special thanks to all my friends and loved ones over on Patreon, which you can pledge to today to see your own name in these ending credits. Thanks again for watching, and until next time, take care.